we're talking about recall this week, recall can be a life-saving behavior, getting your dog to come when called. We don't want you to ruin whatever percentage of recall you have. And I generally go around the room at this point and ask everybody, what percentage of the time you call your dog do they come? And I've heard everything from 100% to negative 2.7%. And I don't want you to wreck whatever you have, even if it is negative 2.7%. How do you wreck recall? If you ever punish your dog for coming to you, I don't care if they have your pizza or your favorite underwear, they are not coming faster the next time. And further, they're gonna evaluate every time you call them. Is she mad? Do I really wanna go there? And I never want my dog to be in that situation where I'm like, ooh, is it worth it to come to her? Make sure she's happy. So remember, they don't speak English. You can say whatever you want as long as you're saying it in a pleasant tone of voice as you call them to you, but we're never gonna punish them for coming to us. Further, it should pay every time they come. It does not have to be treats every time. Dixie, here. But every time, good girl, every time you come to me, something good's gonna happen to you. Whether it's I'm gonna rub your ears, or I'm gonna scratch your butt, or I'm gonna give you a cookie, something good's gonna happen so that your dog is like, oh my God, yeah, I wanna go to that person. Could you get any closer? I don't want you using the word come or here until you know the behavior is going to happen. Other ways that recall get wrecked is if you call your dog when they're outside and it's generally to come inside, pretty soon you get that I don't hear you, talk to the paw kind of response. You need to call your dog a ton of times when you don't want anything. Call them to you, reward them, let them go back and play. They don't have to come in just because you called them. In the house, call them to you, let them go do something else. I'm not putting you in the crate to leave every time I call you, so we want to make sure that it's not a predictor of what comes next. So there are a few recall games we can play. The first one is called toss and call. We're going to toss a treat, let the dog go get it, say their name one time, back up, the dog's going to be drawn in, and have them come to us, and then have them sit at the end, and we'll add our word when we know what's going to happen. So it's going to look like this. Get that. Dixie, puppy, puppy. Good girl, nice work, sit. Good job, ready? Get that one. Sorry, Dixie. Good girl, sit. Oh, nice job. When I know what's gonna happen, I can add my word. Get it. Dixie, here. Good girl, sit. Nice work. That word, you wanna make sure, if you've been saying come a lot and it's not happening, you might want to change your word to here. It is not an option. I don't want learned irrelevance where the dog goes. She says that all the time and I do it if I feel like it. So you want to make sure that we're not using the word unless we know the behavior is going to happen. Go get that. And at the beginning we're backing up. Dixie, here. But eventually we don't have to back up and we just call the dog to us in reward. Okay. The second recall game is what we call step and call. Sit. So I put the dog in a sit. I'm going to take one step back, call the dog to me. Take 2 steps back, call the dog to me. Take 3 steps back, call the dog to me. And actually, I said that incorrectly. I'm going to call the dog as I'm backing up. So I'm going to say, Dixie, sit. Good job. Dixie, sit. And I'm just making a smooch noise, whatever I need to do to kind of entice the dog to come along. Dixie, 1, 2, 3, good girl, sit. Nice work. When they get the idea of that, okay, let's go. You can start to add the word, and you will say that before you start moving. Sit. So I'll say, Dixie, here. Sit. Good girl. Dixie, here. Sit. Good girl. Dixie, here. Sit. Nice job. Good girl. Okay. So you want to practice that as well. You get to add the word relatively quickly because you're backing up and the dog's going to be drawn in. And keep them on a leash when you're first starting this practice. The third recall game we're going to play is what we call yo-yo recall. I'm going to have to use the cameraman for part of this, so you're going to have to bear with us. Yo-yo recall involves at least 2 people. You can do it with more. You need to have the same value of treat, if not the exact same treat. Because if one of you has steak and one of you has spinach, the game's not going to be that much fun for both of you. So you're going to call the dog alternately back and forth between you. When the dog comes to you, they get rewarded. Can you lie down? Wait. I'm going to grab a couple snacks. I'll be right back. you. Excuse me. You were given a job. Thank you. If the dog figures out the game, and some of them do, and just start zooming back and forth, the deal is if I didn't call you, I won't pay you. And you have to do whatever you have to do to get the dog to come to you. Sometimes that involves making yourself look like the village crazy person by getting down and pounding on the floor or whatever. But you do what you got to do. So it's dog's name one time. You can back up to help draw them in. And you don't use the word until you know they're on the way. I'm going to bring her over to you to start with because it'll make it easier. Call her.
Dixie. Sit.
Dixie! Puppy, puppy! Here! Good girl. And here, I used my word. I'm sorry. She knows it though. Go ahead and call her.
Dixie. Good girl.
Dixie! Good job! That's sit. Nice work. Go ahead and call her.
Dixie. Dixie.
One,
Here.
Dixie. Dixie! Here! Sit. Good job. And guess who's thinking about figuring out the game here? You're not the sharpest knife, are you? Okay, we're done. So you can practice that, and ideally when we start practicing that, we want to set the dog up to be successful. Ideally down a bedroom hallway, close the doors. When the dog's doing really well, open the doors. And when the dog runs to whoever you're playing with, maybe duck in a bedroom. So now it's a little bit of hide and seek. That can be really impactful in the dog's learning, and it makes it a lot more fun for them. So you're gonna practice recall a ton. You cannot practice it enough. When you go to start practicing outside, make sure you're in a fenced or secured area, and always start out on leash. I have a 50-foot line I use when I'm working outside at the beginning, so that if I need a little bit of encouragement as I'm backing up, I have my dog. I know my dog can't take off and make a bad mistake or put themselves in danger. So make sure we're keeping everybody safe as we start practicing our recall.